My name is Terry Slack and I work in the forestry program. I'm coming to you today from my favorite remote location, my backyard deck. And I'm going to show you how to make this really cool votive candle holder that combines two of my favorite things, recycling and forest products. So, let's go over the materials you'll need for today's craft. First, you'll need a hot glue gun and hot glue gun sticks. I recommend using a high temperature hot glue gun because it will hold the sticks on better, but if you have a low temperature glue gun, it should work, and other glues will work. They're just not going to give you that instant gratification that you get by using a hot glue gun. You're also going to need possibly a pair of pruners, one votive candle, one WE brand yogurt that you have eaten the yogurt and that you have pulled off the label. This label's been on a really long time, so it doesn't want to come off. Now, as you can see, once you pull the label off, there's some pretty good sticky residue. You want to get that residue off using either just simple rubbing alcohol will work. I use Glue Gone because that's what my husband has in his garage. Wash that out and dry it off so that it looks like this, nice and clear. And then you're going to need approximately 50 little twigs, nice straight twigs that you have cut to size. Today I'm using twigs from a silver maple in my backyard that just happens to like to drop twigs randomly all the time. But this particular votive candle holder was made with Norway spruce twigs, which also I have in my yard, and they just kind of drop whenever they feel like it. But I've also made them using these, which are not from a tree. This is actually Oriental bittersweet vine, which grows like crazy across the street in Mercer County Park. So I feel no guilt picking it. As you can see, I have a bunch of those. And this one was made using linden twigs. I had a linden tree across the street from me, which got hit by lightning. And when the town came out and took it down, they let me take some of the twigs. So you will need twigs, and you'll also need a little votive candle, and optional items, a rubber band, which I'll talk about later, and some items that you can use to embellish your votive candle holder when you're done. So, let's get started. Some of you may be wondering how to figure out how to cut the twigs to size, so I just take one of the twigs, rest it on the table, lean it up against the glass, and then cut it with my pruners just a little bit proud of the top of the container like that. And then you can use this piece to then cut all the rest of the twigs to size. Like I said, I think I've counted it out. Usually takes about 50 twigs, and to make things go faster, I've already cut them to size today. Now, if some of you haven't cut your twigs to size and you just want to get a head start before I work on the craft, why don't you do that, and I'll just share a little fun forestry fact with you. That twigs, the lowly twig, is in the Toy Hall of Fame. Yes, that's right. Twigs are free, they're versatile, and you can do so many things with them. So yes, they've made it to the Toy Hall of Fame. In fact, recently I made this twig shaker, or as my son likes to call, the annoying, useless noisemaker, out of a twig that I also cut from the linden tree that came down across the street. I think it's a very useful thing to make. If nothing else, it's great for stress relief. It's great to annoy the rest of the folks in your family, and you get also stress relief by pounding out these beer caps. So, all right, that's enough time. If you haven't cut all your twigs by now, that's okay, you'll catch up. So let's get started. You want to take your hot glue gun, which, oh good, I remember to plug in, because sometimes I don't. And you want to start and just lay a bead of glue along the top, maybe about an inch at a time. You don't want to go too far at one time, because then your hot glue is going to solidify before you have an opportunity to stick the twigs on. So let's put some twigs out and put a bead of glue like that, and then just rest it at the table. Put a twig so it rests on the table, and then just stick it into the glue and just move around the container like that. We're just going to continue doing about 1 inch at a time. And don't be concerned if there's a little bit of space between your twigs. You actually want to have some space, because when you light the candle at the end, that shows you that you can see the candle flame flickering through the spaces in the twigs. Let's keep going around. You know, I think my husband was really pleased that I had decided today to do the craft using silver maple twigs, because he is forever picking up these twigs from the yard, and by my doing the craft, he could get me to pick them up this time. Usually I don't do too much yard work. Now let's continue. As you can see, if you've got your twigs cut in advance, this goes really fast. And I kind of like to alternate the thicker twigs with the thinner twigs to give it a little more interest as you go around. Don't worry if your twigs aren't completely straight. I think it looks more interesting if you've got some variation in your twigs, or like this one, little bumps on your twigs. Those make it kind of cool. I don't know about you, but every time I use hot glue, you always get these hot glue threads. They drive me crazy. And we'll continue around. Now, you can glue the bottoms on at the same time, but we're going to do that all at the end, which is where the rubber band comes in. I guess I should put some more twigs out, because I think we're not going to use that one. It may be interesting, but I don't know, maybe that one's just a little too interesting today. So, stick that on. Moving quickly. I have to move kind of quickly. My son said this video only, his camera that we're using to take video only gives me 29 minutes. So at maximum, if you're bored, it's only going to be for 29 minutes. And then I'll either be done or the video will just cut off. Hopefully I'm done by then, and you'll get to see the finished product. So I'd work a little faster, but there's something about being on video that kind of makes you nervous and makes your hand shake a little, so things don't go as neatly as you'd like. Well, at least for me anyway. I don't know, maybe for you it doesn't quite work that way. Maybe for you it's better. Of course, today I decided to film today because this morning it was beautiful and bright and sunny and not breezy, and I thought it was the perfect day to film a video. But as what often happens, forecasters get it wrong. And today apparently is just one of those days, but no worries, we're still getting there. And as you can see, by having lots of having some variety in your twigs helps make sure that they just fit perfectly around the glass jar. This is where I like to use a rubber band, and I'll put it around like that and just make sure my twig twigs are spread out the way I want them to be. Move this down a bit to hold it in place, nice and tight. Pull off some more of those annoying threads. And now I can glue all of the bottom twigs all at one time. And just go around, making sure to get glue on all of the twigs. Like this. Even this little one here. Of course, I've got to add a glue stick. I don't know about you, but I like the really long glue sticks. I just didn't happen to have any on hand today. They're so much better, you know, you don't have to keep adding the sticks one after the other. Pull off a few more threads. Hot glue is great. It takes almost no time at all to dry. Take that off. Now I'm going to look at my votive and see if I want to like cut any of the tops. Maybe I don't like this one, sticks up a little. You don't have to do this. I don't know. I guess sometimes I'm just a bit of a perfectionist. So I'll do that. And you could call it done right now. Let's use a little hot glue to glue our votive candle into the center so that it doesn't slide around. Now I find that although I like this just the way it is, I do like to add some embellishments. So I think today, well, here's embellishments that you could consider using. We've got little pine cones. These are just rocks. We've got, this is from hickory nut. We have little wooden beads. These are dried Kusa dogwood seeds. This is what Kusa dogwood berries look like, but when they first come out on the tree, they're little and green, and I tried some. They make really cool embellishments. And I tend to be partial to forest products, but I find that buttons are also really cool. As you can see, I used some buttons on this one for the owl's eyes. So today I'm going to embellish it, I think, with some red wooden beads and a little pine cone. So I just want to figure out where I want to put it. I think maybe here. And we'll just put a big dollop of glue here. I'm going to put it a little bit like that. And then I think I'll put three beads. One there. One here. And one here. So, just let them dry for a second or two. Again, with hot glue, really doesn't take long for things to dry. And I call this one done. Now, there are other things that you can decorate your votive with. Another type of cool forest product, another one of my favorite ones, and that's paper. I have decorated them using even calendar paper, but my favorite thing to use is crepe paper or tissue paper. I tend to save the tissue paper that you get in shoe boxes. Well, actually, I tend to save a lot of things other people wouldn't save. It's probably why my husband says I am either, how does he put it, an artist with trash, woo, or a nut with a stash. So I go with artist. So here's some that I did using that wonderful forest product paper. These two are tissue paper. This one is crepe paper. And these two I glued on with Mod Podge, which is a glue and a finish all at once. It is rather pricey, and I certainly could understand if you didn't want to use Mod Podge. So this was just glued on with plain old Elmer's glue. And if in a pinch you happen to have a glass container and some paper but no glue, you can always use that old staple, flour and water. Hey, don't scoff. I used flour and water a lot as a glue when I was a kid, and you can even look it up on the internet. It has lots of recipes for how to make glue, and we all know if it's on the internet, then it's got to be true, right? So, anyway, that's the end of our project today. I hope you enjoyed making this craft, or that you will enjoy it when you make it at some other time.